Dejamos atrás la tierra. Estamos en la ciudad de Hebrón y nos encontramos con rejas, checkpoints y cámaras de vigilancia. La única de Cisjordania donde hay asentamientos judíos en el propio centro. Aquí cientos de colonos fundamentalistas viven desde hace décadas protegidos por el ejército israelí. Un lugar sin vida, especialmente desde el 7 de octubre de 2023, una ciudad donde reina la segregación. Al llegar a Cisjordania, nos encontramos con la mayor operación militar de Israel en 2 décadas. La zona está en alerta máxima. Todos los accesos a la parte de Hebrón en la que viven la mayoría de los palestinos están bloqueados. Por eso es muy complicado entrar. Pero tras cruzar varios puestos de control lo conseguimos. Aquí hemos quedado con Tal Sagi, exsoldado israelí. Con ella vamos a recorrer el centro histórico.
We will start our walk from the Tomb of the Patriarchs. So we will park around here and we'll start to walk around the settlements.
Nada más empezar a caminar, nos damos cuenta de que estamos en una de las zonas más militarizadas y vigiladas de toda Palestina.
What's going on?
They are asking if we want to go into the Tomb of the Patriarchs. So I told them that we're not going into the Tomb of the Patriarchs. We're just walking around here.
And this is something normal here to happen?
Yeah, it is.
They're asking about our religion or?
No, about the camera.
Passport? You want our passport?
מוסלמי? נוצרי?
Sorry?
נוצרים?
He's asking if you're Christians. Here they have the job to ask people what their religion, because all this area, and we will talk more about it, is separated by religion. So this is like the Jewish entrance to the Tomb of the Patriarchs, and Muslims are not allowed to walk here.
No quieren que grabemos dentro del edificio más sagrado de la ciudad. La mezquita de Ibrahim para los musulmanes, la tumba de los patriarcas para los judíos, un templo muy disputado y dividido en 2.
It's so shocking to see this city. It looks like a ghost town.
Yes. It looks like a scene from a horror movie or something. And that was the middle of the city. We're standing now in the center of the city. That was one of the most busiest area. And if you have a shop here in these buildings, you're very wealthy. And if you have a real estate here, you're very wealthy. So people who left this area, they felt that, you know, they lost a really good life.
And what happened to the Palestinians that left this area? What happened to all these people that used to have big businesses here?
So people who could afford themselves just left and found different places in Hebron, in H1, or in different areas in the West Bank. But there are people who stayed because they have nowhere to go and they have no other options.
El casco antiguo de Hebrón está casi vacío. Caminamos con una sensación de inquietud, sabiendo que están controlando todos nuestros movimientos.
Why we have to coordinate with you to come to this area? What is the reason?
It's a slightly more sensitive area. I don't know all the details. This is the instruction that I was given.
And that was the spice market, by the way. So all these shops were closed during the Second Intifada in the early 2000s, and that's how it used to look like. So you can see the porches here. And you see there are soldiers. That was 97.
Yeah.
So there are soldiers, there are settlements, but the market was still open.
It looks like a dead street right now.
Yeah, and there are people here who still remember this street like this.
En 1967, Israel gana la Guerra de los 6 días y ocupa el resto de los territorios palestinos que no había conquistado en 1948. Esta victoria dio impulso a los judíos más nacionalistas para colonizar la tierra prometida. Por su importancia religiosa, Hebrón fue uno de los lugares donde se construyeron los primeros asentamientos. Sin embargo, no fue hasta 1994 cuando la ciudad cambió para siempre. Ese año, Baruch Goldstein, un colono israelí nacido en Estados Unidos, entró armado con un fusil en la mezquita de Ibrahim. Mató a 29 palestinos e hirió a más de 100. Para evitar que tomaran represalias, Israel impuso un toque de queda a los árabes y restringió todos sus movimientos. Estos cierres se hicieron permanentes durante la Segunda Intifada, destruyendo la economía de la zona y obligando a muchos residentes a marcharse. Además, desde 1997, Hebrón está partida en dos. El 80% del territorio, llamado H1, es administrado por la Autoridad Palestina. El 20% restante es la zona H2, situada en el centro histórico y bajo control directo de Israel. Aquí viven unos 35.000 palestinos y 850 colonos, protegidos por alrededor de 700 soldados.
What does it say here?
Revenge. It says revenge.
And this is a Palestinian shop?
Yes, it's a closed Palestinian shop. So all this building was part of the market. So behind this building, it's the meat market, and right here we have the vegetable and the fruit market. That's our land.
Esta es la calle Al-Shuhada. Aquí estaba el mercado central de Hebrón, aunque ahora cuesta mucho imaginarlo, porque todos los comercios están sellados y algunos tienen estrellas de David en las puertas. Incluso aquí, los palestinos tienen prohibido hasta caminar.
Es lo que se llaman zonas esterilizadas, áreas completamente cerradas a los palestinos, según el ejército israelí, por razones de seguridad. En cambio, los colonos tienen libertad para ir a donde quieran. Una política de segregación que organizaciones como Human Rights Watch e incluso la Corte Internacional de Justicia califican de apartheid contra los palestinos.
Why are you doing this now?
There are so many things happening here, and I didn't know anything about it. While taking part of it was so powerful for me that I feel like I have to pass on this knowledge and I have to talk about it in every opportunity that I have, because I understand deeply how people don't really know what we're doing here.
Todo lo que Tal ha vivido la ha llevado a reflexionar. Ahora está comprometida con poner fin a la ocupación y buscar un futuro distinto para israelíes y palestinos.
You explain your motives for doing what you are doing, but in your opinion, in Israeli society, how many people like you are there?
What I'm talking about is not popular ideas, for sure. And for people now to hear any different narrative is difficult, because people want to stay in their own suffer, in their own pain. They don't want to. I feel like it's a matter of capacity. People don't have the capacity to think about the future even. It's me. Oh, my
dear.
darling.
I missed you. Where have you been?
I miss you so much.
I was traveling.
Issa Ambro es un activista palestino muy conocido en Hebrón. Desde 2007 alquila una casa en el barrio de Tel Rumeida, justo al lado de un asentamiento israelí con el mismo nombre.
What are they doing over there?
They have a military post here, watching my house and the area here all the time.
And there are also settlers or just soldiers?
It's a settlement here, the settlement is here. See, my main entrance used to be from here. It's closed now. Because of settlers and army violence, after October 7th, the door is closed, locked from the main entrance of the house for safety reasons.
Isa ha dedicado su vida adulta a reunir apoyo internacional para la causa palestina. Es un defensor de la resistencia civil no violenta, un camino difícil en cualquier parte, pero aún más desafiante en Cisjordania.
Occupation and apartheid in Hebron.
Arrestado más veces de las que puede contar, expulsado durante semanas de su casa y procesado por tribunales militares israelíes y por la autoridad palestina. Aunque Isa también ha convencido a muchos jóvenes para que tomen otro camino y no empuñen un arma.
Has denunciado que el 7 de octubre, después del ataque de Hamas, fuiste atacado muy cerca de tu casa. ¿Recuerdas qué pasó ese día?
I was coming back to my house midday, and I saw settlers in an army uniform, my neighbors, who we know our politics, each other very well. They attacked me, they kidnapped me, they tortured me, they detained me for 10 hours, more, midday to midnight, and sexually assaulted me. So I didn't feel that I will go home alive.
Has sido detenido, desalojado de tu casa, golpeado. ¿No llega un momento en el que uno dice, ya no puedo más?
I feel frustrated, I feel angry, but 1 hour, 2 hours, one day I come back because it's a duty. I want to help my people. I have no choice. I have, it's either to use violence or to be a silent Palestinian and accept to be a slave in my own country, or to resist peacefully. I'm not able to raise it. This is the point. Okay. They want the Palestinians to be stereotyped as human animals, as they described us, as the Israeli leaders described us, as human animals. But we live as human animals. They make us live as human animals, and they treat us as animals who are looking for shelter and food, which is completely not true. We are not seeking food and shelter. We want to be treated as a nation who deserve full equal rights, freedom, justice, equality, and for sure accountability for the occupiers. People are terrified here because they don't have any protection, and the army and the settlers all the time, they are terrifying everybody. I'm terrified. I consider myself one of the bravest, but I'm afraid.
Hey! Leave him!
The soldiers want to kill. The soldiers want to be part of Itamar Ben-Gvir, a new ideology that kill Palestinians, you are a great leader, or you are a great soldier.
Itamar Ben-Gvir es el ministro de Seguridad de Israel. Vive en Kiryat Arba, un asentamiento a las afueras de Hebrón. Es muy conocido por sus opiniones extremistas. De hecho, ha sido condenado en los tribunales israelíes 8 veces por incitar al racismo y apoyar a una organización terrorista. Desde los ataques de Hamas, gracias a él, miles de civiles israelíes llevan armas, algo que los palestinos tienen prohibido.
It's a 2,000-year-old building where the tombs of the patriarchs and matriarchs are. Do you believe in the Bible?
Hemos quedado en la tumba de los patriarcas con el que fue su portavoz, Yishai Fleischer.
It's a building that also has a Muslim side, and that's okay. The Muslims are our cousins. We have a shared father, Abraham.
Los medios internacionales, la administración estadounidense y los palestinos dicen que ha habido un incremento de la violencia en toda esta zona. ¿Cómo se siente en Hebrón?
This is a Hamas city. They believe in destroying Israel and the Jewish people. That's what they say. That's in their charter. It's in the very fabric of their belief system. And so that's part of why they want to fight with us. They've wanted to destroy us for the last 100 years. We had an October 7th in 1929. And so to us, it's not like a big surprise. So So the spike of violence is because Hamas now wants to start a war here because they're not successful in their war in Gaza. So they now want to start a war in the north with Hezbollah and Hamas here in Judea and Samaria and Hebron. That's part of our reality. We are a tiny minority in the city, an ethnic minority, and so therefore the only way you can survive as an ethnic minority around here is by being ready to push back on the bad guys.
Hay un conflicto aquí, acabas de decir que estáis rodeados de enemigos. ¿Cómo resolverías ese conflicto en esta zona?
First thing is, not everything is for us to solve. Some places in this world live on the sword for hundreds of years, like the Balkans and other places. So sometimes you have to manage a conflict. Not everything is solution-based. And here you are, Spanish TV, coming to talk to me about our conflict. You guys have your own conflicts and your own issues. Have you solved already all the problems of Spain and the Basques and all that? Have you figured it all out? No, you haven't. And there's a lot of problems around the world. We haven't figured it out yet. We think this is our land. We think that non-jihadist, pro-Israel Arabs can live in our land. We think that we have a small piece of land amongst the Arab world. We think we are family with the Arabs. So when jihadism is subdued and the rights of the Jewish people are recognized, there'll be more peace in this region. But if it doesn't happen tomorrow, that's also okay. We are ready to fight for 1,000 years if we need to hold on to our justice.
Hemos hablado con muchos palestinos que son activistas pacifistas y que han sido detenidos, acosados por colonos y por el ejército israelí y no son yihadistas. ¿Qué opinas sobre esto?
I don't know what really happened there, and your story may be true or it may be just another part of lies. In war people lie, and they tell you that they're pacifists, but they're actually the front of the jihad. The jihad has many faces. Sometimes it talks about rights and equalities and we're nonviolent. And then in Arabic, they say, we will destroy Israel. And we're going to be okay here. The Arabs are going to be okay, I promise you. They're going to be all right. They're strong, they're smart, they're our cousins. They're going to work it out with the tiny Jewish state in their midst. And inshallah, with the help of God, B'ezrat Hashem, as we say, everything is going to be fine. And Israel will get through this tough time. We'll continue to survive and thrive. This is our homeland. We lived here, we are living here, and we're going to live here. And nobody's going to kick us out of here.
Yishai está conectado con el poder político. Conoce a Nir Barkat, actual ministro de Economía, exalcalde de Jerusalén y uno de los posibles sucesores de Netanyahu.
איך היה באפרת? הייתי אמור להיות בסיור הזה.
קדמנו, הרבה הבנות.
So how do you see the situation right now in the West Bank?
The challenge we have is how do we live side by side? Jews, Israelis, and Palestinians. And it's our right to live in the Holy Land. Jews can live anywhere they want in the world. Certainly we can live anywhere we want in the Holy Land and in Judea and Samaria. And our expectation is that the Palestinians will understand that we must coexist side by side and enable us to build and live in Judea and Samaria and in a way that doesn't threaten us. You're probably aware of the fact that unfortunately the Palestinians teach and educate their children to kill Israelis. They must change that attitude. They must recognize our right to live here for any peace to happen.
What about Palestinians living here?
Well, there's a Palestinian Authority, okay? The Palestinian Authority is responsible for their civil challenges, and as long as they're peaceful, let them live their life the way they understand, and Israelis will live their life the way we understand.
But Israelis control all the West Bank.
That's not true. There are areas that are controlled by Israel, that's Area C, and there's areas controlled by the Palestinian Authority, those are Areas A, and in B, in the midst, in between, there are places that we control the security, and they control the civil side, and it's not true, and as long as they maintain peace and quiet, they manage their own lives. If, and unfortunately it happens sometimes, that they are terrorizing Israel, then anywhere there are terrorists, we'll hunt them and fight them, and if it's us or them, we will be the victor.
Aunque los acuerdos de Oslo establecieron una autoridad palestina, Israel no los ha cumplido. Más de 30 años después, sigue sin retirar a sus fuerzas de estas zonas temporales. Tampoco ha permitido la creación de un Estado palestino independiente. Mientras tanto, el número de asentamientos en toda Cisjordania se ha multiplicado y ya hay 365. Arish al-Jabari reside en el vecindario de Wadi al-Hussein. Desde que estalló la guerra en Gaza, su comunidad vive atormentada por los colonos y el ejército.
الناس حست بالضغط اللي احنا فيه بالظروف ففتحت لنا الارض من غير عشان بس نحط سياراتنا ونقدر ننزل ونطلع مع انه رغم هذا الاشي المستوطنين اللي جنبها هي هالعماره بينزلوا على هون بكسروا السيارات بيفقعوا الاطارات بيعجبوا على الناس كثير هون وبيحرقوا سيارات كمان.
Al igual que todos los niños palestinos de la zona, sus hijos ya no van a la escuela.
في وقت محدد بدنا نطيح تحت انه نقعد في وقت محدد قلنا نطيح تحت بس هون خلص هون مسكروا عندهم فوق او تحت كله جمعه وسبت فيش هو يعني بس يعني من احد خميس جمعه وسبت مسكرين
يعني من 7 اكتوبر يعني كل الاهالي كلها قاعده في بيوتها وكلها محبوسه في بيوتها ما يقدرش لا في شغل ولا في اقتصاد ولا في كلها بطاله ومسكره وايام الدراسه برضه في الدار وعلى التيمز يعني ما حد ما هذا اثر علينا كثير الحرب اللي صارت.
Están sometidos a un toque de queda que les impide abandonar sus casas entre las 10 de la noche y las 7 de la mañana. Tampoco durante los viernes y sábados.
أنا في الفيديو بدي أورجيك يعني كيف اعتقلوني تحت وأخذوني كمان. لما أجي بدي أعدي ناس دايما ببهدلوني بس أنا بضطر إني أسمع كل إشي لو حتى اعتقلوني عشان أنزل يعني الأولاد الصغار وأنزل يعني الناس على بيوتها.
Como voluntaria en B'Tselem, una ONG israelí de derechos humanos, Arish se dedica a documentar la violencia de soldados y colonos. Algo que le ha costado ser detenida varias veces.
المستوطنين بعد 7 أكتوبر صاروا مسلحين يعني كانوا أول إشي يعتدوا علينا بالحجار هلأ بالسلاح كانوا الجيش صار هو يطلع على البيوت ويفتش البيوت وينتهك حرمات البيوت ويعتدي على الصغار على الكبار على النساء. كان قبل 7 أكتوبر يعني ما يطبوش بالنسوان هلأ بيطبوا فيهم بصير تحرش بصير كل إشي يعني عندنا هون يعني على الحواجز يعني.
Arish alza la voz contra el acoso que aseguran sufrir algunas mujeres de Hebrón. Testimonios que acaban de salir a la luz y que podrían ser solo el principio, porque la ONU asegura que hay pruebas de varios casos de violencia sexual contra mujeres palestinas.
لما يدخلوا الحواجز يدخلوا على مناطقهم بيكونوا في يعني جنود واقفين فبيعملوا حالهم انه حط الشنطه قيم الشنطه فبيحاولوا انهم يتحرشوا فيهم او يحكوا لهم كلام او يطبوا يعني فيهم او يحسسوا عليهم بحيث انه هم بيفتشوا وهو طبعا لا بيفتشوا ولا شيء يعني انهم بس بدهم يحسسوا او يشوفوا او يتعرضوا لهم يعني. زي ما قلت لك فيش امان على النساء في حواجز التفتيش وخصوصا انها مغلقه يعني البرة بيعرفش شو بيصير جوا يعني لما يدخلوا ست بيدخلوش كل الستات مع بعض فهم بيدخلوا واحدة فلما تدخل واحدة بتطول لما تطول يعرفوا انه في اشي جوا فانه بيكون عندهم حاطين يعني ازاز والازاز ما ببينش البرة انه شو في جوا بالغرفة التفتيش. انا صارت معي هذا الاشي وطلعت اجري يعني. وقتاش ايمو؟ انقطعت يبقى عشان هيك مطفي الموتور مطفي عندي.
Hebrón es un microcosmos de la ocupación israelí. Aquí están los colonos, que dominan el centro histórico con el apoyo de su ejército.
People who hate Israel should find another place. If they want to make war, we know how to make war. And if they want to go away somewhere else, they should go somewhere else. But people who live here have to accept that this is the Jewish state. Again, one tiny Jewish state in the Arab region. It's really simple.
Y los palestinos, sometidos a una política de segregación que les ha quitado sus derechos y ha provocado su éxodo.
It's not conflict. It's occupation and occupied people. It's oppressor and oppressed people. We can't say it a conflict. It's one people occupying and making the life of other people miserable.
Esta ciudad es una pieza clave de un conflicto histórico en el que palestinos e israelíes están más alejados que nunca.
I know that it doesn't have to be like that. I know that we have so many good people and people who want peace and people who want just to live their life and to have connections and love. And we don't have to hold weapons and to die and to kill. We don't have to do that.